My mother was raised by grandmother Louisa Correa, daughter of Louisa Correa. Grandma Lou was a teacher, doula, counsel, guide. She birthed the babes, then taught them to appreciate the tree's bark as much as the fruit. She led the burns, weaved families together with her wisdom. All the women in my family seemed to be in this vein, spirit bigger than the scale of human perspective. On this day of sharing story, I asked my mother if Grandma Lou charged people for their births. It felt like an insane thing to ask, even as I typed it. I knew the answer when it came to my mind the night before by the fire, while I laughed with a friend about the idea of my grandmother asking you to pay her for new life. What is the price of new life? I don't know how to come to these mechanics without a negotiation of life that is not inherent to our own. I've come to understand that I don't know how to capitalize on life force. I have yet to find security in a safety net woven from money. My hammocks always seem to be made from the fingertips and emphasis of those who love me. All of us without our human money. And I do mean human money because I don't know what bug money looks like, or how mushrooms calculate the rate of sharing resources. I can understand the conversion of cowrie or touch shells to communicate and exchange as an incarnation of spirit, and yet I do not know how to conflate spirit and capital. I do understand how capitalism is racialized, how the rates of deaths are superseding the scale of living, and collapse invites new old knowledge to be rehydrated within and beyond us. With these words, I invite an economy closer to what I know. The answer my mother shared was, I don't know if they ever paid her. All I know is that she was the midwife in Jacklow. Back in those days, everything was free. They do barter systems, because my aunt used to teach the kids for free as well in the same house. Oh, and Pilar shares for love. How to start from the start. To reposition myself as one from soil, as kin to Maka Maka and Mangrove. I must begin with Grandmother Earth. On February 22nd, 2025, I found myself on a veranda in Parika, Guyana, with my mother, Cousin Lena, and Cousin Sophia. You never say an elder's name in Guyana without some designation of relation. Cousin, auntie, uncle, player, otherwise. What becomes clear is that everyone is actually a cousin in the village, through some variation of marriage or communal formation. I whispered to my mother, you know, I'm 10 years sober today. And we giggle, because the last time I was in Guyana, my sobriety felt as raw as the salt seeping into fresh wounds on the river. We were there that time to visit my Aunt Annette, months before she passed from breast cancer. This would have been the second time I'd seen Kamaka, the first being when I lived with my grandmother for a summer when I was 5. On our final day in the village, we drove Aunt Annette to her final doctor's appointment. Everyone tells me I don't remember what Aunt Annette used to look like, and they're right. Her cheeks, which used to be rich with jokes and impressions of everyone in the village, now sunk into her being, communicating the lack of time we had left with her. Her hands, which used to be a tool for pinching wicked children's cheeks and picking weevils without exception, now lay softly above my palm, not on, but above, as if the embrace would cause her skin to shatter. Baby love, she said, please promise your auntie one thing, gal. And so I did. I agreed to write this story about Guyana. We would use our family as an anchor to look outward and inward, to understand the complex relationships between people who coexisted under colonialism by forming unions, while addressing the messy, overlapping, and uncomfortable ways forms of power function in Pomeroon. On this exceedingly hot February morning, we arrived in Georgetown only able to stay a week's time, which is a millisecond in river time. No cousin could believe we were there for that short. In river time, it takes 2 days to get to Georgetown and another day to arrive in Mabaruma. It takes a friendly cousin and a good van to navigate the opulent orange clay, which formed the foundations for homes and pottery in Pomeroon. After a couple of hours of being thrusted and shaken from steep hill to wandering hill, you'll find our village, Kamaka. What used to be my family's farm has transformed into a port town, where bustles of cousins carry prayers, clothes, and resources from up and down the riparian zones. Our Riverport home sits on what is now referred to as the border between Guyana and Venezuela, but is really the earthen definition of the Essequibo River, or Jeshiquibo and Locono. Every time I'm in Guyana, my sense of place and relationship to space makes more sense. I run into more cousins who share the Gamell face, more uncles who have more children, and miles of trees who all see my aunties. What was different now were billboards and bumper stickers stating Essequibo is beyond, in response to the ongoing oil dispute with Venezuela, one of the 5 Guianas. The terrain of what is now referred to as the Cooperative Republic of Guyana was once one of 5 Guianas, forming within the Guiana Shield. The Guiana Shield came to shape through erosion and expansion over 4 million years and is referred to as one of the oldest bodies of land due to its presence during Pangaea's release. This region is also one of the world's most biodiverse, rich in fruits, flowers, fauna, and family. The Guiana Shield is one of the 3 cratons of the South American plate, and here is where you'll find 5 Guianas: Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Venezuela, and Brazil. Only the first 3 are consistently referred to as the Guianas. And before I go further, I would be remiss if I didn't spend time on the curiosity of Guyana being both South American and Caribbean, a cultural phenomenon that seems to confuse and trouble most everyone except the Guyanese. There is a weaving, a textual overlapping among the Guianas, and especially within Guyana. Even more specifically, my geographic consciousness and heritage remain in the divots between hilltops. Through millennia of expansion and compression, this region of South American Caribbean became a home for Bovianda life. Dawn Cleopatra Felicity Grace Gamell Brown was born at daylight in a bathtub, from her mother's uterus to her father's palms. My mother was the 3rd born out of 12, and the only one with 3 middle names. She worked on our family farm, picking peppers and chasing chickens for supper. My mom was one of thousands who immigrated during Guyana's post-independence era in the 1980s, post the U.S. murdering Walter Rodney, post the U.S. inciting riots around the rivers, post the U.S. becoming our new colonial arm and stealing their technologies through our hands, eroding our psyches and soils, post the U.S. deciding we would not only be a republic, but we would be cooperative. With her was the goal of surviving domestic violence and the potential to Americanize her future children so far away they wouldn't endure the land like she had. And over time, I watched my mother ripple with regret for raising us in the hands who continue to harm us. And through our shared remorse, I can see the contingencies of flight being the response to evade confinement, with possibilities to whittle down life to otherings and impossible returns. I instilled her pressure to make me America's Next Top Model stemmed from a practice of using our bodies to shield our spirits. And because I am human, I can see the kinks and familial ties to be one of reality, regardless of how near we are to our ancestral waters. And when I was 5, my parents surprised my siblings and me with a trip to Guyana. I don't remember the logistics, but I can see the pin-sized plane we arrived in off the coast. I can feel my skin shaking as the airplane rambles towards the water, my tongue nostalgic for the taste of the rainforest, one I hadn't physically had before, but inherently knew. My grandmother's farm sat on the banks of Pomeroon, encircled by aunts and uncles' shops and houses. By this time, my grandfather died and left everything to his wife and their 9 kids: Steve, Andre, Fayenne, Annette, Astral, Keith, David, Kevin, and Don. My mother didn't go with us to Guyana, and after a couple of weeks, my father fell ill and flew home. The following day, I went from family member to family member, asking where my father was. Eventually, my grandmother found me and told me he left, and I was to spend the summer with her. Before this trip, I didn't even know her name, and even though I didn't know her, I loved her immediately. She was strong as an ox from years of caring for her farm, her skin thick like caswort, her eyes rich brown like ceiba trees. You could hear when she was near due to the hymn she hummed. I remember my grandmother the most for her stories. She brimmed with seafaring tales of mermaids and nautical nightmares that she would tell me nightly, several times, as many as I wanted. One afternoon, Grandma Shirley stopped my brother and me while we chased chickens and told me to grab one for supper. Despite Keith nearly falling in the trench trying to catch one, we secured a chick safely after only a few hours. I gleamed with pride when I brought them to my grandmother, who sent my brother away and told me I would help her cook tonight. I watched her pluck the feathers, clean out the organs, and dress the bird with cumin, curry, onions, and garlic. I asked her if I could touch their eyeballs, She said, okay. My grandmother made chicken and dumplings that evening, and I ate none. My mother would have chastised me for being picky, for being too American. But Grandma understood I was learning to grieve, reckoning with my responsibility for this chicken's mortality. When I woke up the next morning, forgetting where I was, I ran from aunt to aunt, asking if they were my mom. All the Gamell girls look alike, after all. My grandmother passed away in 2010 from colon cancer. Many, if not most, of the women in my family have died from cancer. It's almost always inflammation, the way our trauma builds up in our bodies, bottling over and secreting through our skin, from our gullet to our gut. She used to sing to me, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when the skies are gray," to soothe whenever blubbery tears built up on my baby face. And before I close, I asked in advance if it'd be okay if I shared a poem from a Palestinian poet that I was introduced to at the gorgeous Poetry Confluence that was co-hosted by Junie and Jessica Less. Can we give a clap for the poem? I was fortunate to be a part of a collaborative poem that was stewarded by Dow Storm and Stephanie Adams Santos, so gorgeous, called Dialogues with Trees. And during Stephanie's reading, she introduced a Palestinian poet to me that I'd love to read, a poem that he wrote about writing that has been sitting near my altar and definitely inspiring how I get to be with you guys today. Mahmoud Kamel has written, "The egg is a precipice. Beneath the white arch of the egg lies the first seed of the universe, the hidden spark of hope, the voice yet to be spoken, and the poem still forming in the womb of the unknown. Nothing is born without breaking. The cracking of the egg represents the most intense moments in the cycle of life, the moment when silence weighs heavier than all of the scream, and there is no turning back, only forward. Just as the egg must break for the chick to be born, so too must the human break to transform. To be a writer, to be a poet, is to embrace this fragility with great courage. It is to admit that words do not come easily, and poems, like living beings, emerge from something closed, fearful, and full of questions. The egg is a fragile shell that cradles life, but also a symbol of the boldness to transform. We must not only write to describe the world, but to shatter it, to break its silence, and to crack its shell, to allow something new to be born and emerge from the fractures. Perhaps every time we write truthfully, we break something within ourselves and allow something else to live. The essence of poetry is in the honesty of the break it carries. The poet is not merely a writer, but a bearer of souls and worlds not yet born.
Thank you, Zoe. We have just a super quick scene change before we welcome Claudia. Cool. That's done. Miranda, do you want to restore that? And then yeah. Legs keep coming out. It's all good. Thank you. There. That's the lights, they're on. Okay. All right. And we're back. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Claudia Saleeby Savage. Woo! 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 Claudia Saleeby Savage is an Arab American poet, essayist, and mama with multiple sclerosis whose writing and performance explores displacement/belonging in the landscape of the body and has been featured in print, on stage, and in galleries throughout the country. She is the author of First We Must Destroy the World. That's the new one, right there. With accompanying soundscapes from Thrum recordings, Metal Used for Beauty Alone, also right there. Bruising Continents, also right there. And The Last One Eaten, a maligned vegetables history. With other recent print work in Poetry Northwest, Nimrod, About Place, and Riverty. A Pushcart Best of the Net and Best Poets nominee, Saleeby Savage has received support from many organizations, including RAC, Blue Cross, Gentel, the Black Earth Institute as an Emeritus Fellow, Mars, and the Atlantic Center for the Arts. She creates alone, in joyful collaborative confusion with other artistic disciplines, and with her music text performance duo, Thick in the Throat Honey. They were 2019 semifinalists for a Creative Capital Award on the Syrian refugee crisis. She's been a chef for people undergoing chemotherapy, a book editor, a poetry teacher in the schools and out of her home, and now works in the field of renewable energy. She lives with her experimental musician and avid gardener husband, daughter, and vocal cat in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay, let's see how it works. See, this is the thing, you guys. I haven't figured this out for myself, so how can you ask for what you need when you don't even know?
Thank you guys. Thank you, Jessica. That was amazing. That was like the longest bio I've ever submitted to anyone, and you read the whole thing. Yeah, and Gina, thank you so much. And it's beautiful to be here with Zoe and Miranda. I'm excited to hear. I feel my book launch, you guys were talking about the consulate. I wasn't there because I was having a book launch. I know. It's great. It's just mind-boggling.
What do you need from the mic?
The thing is,
It bends.
I wanna like move it so I don't trip on it.
Okay.
Let's just do like that.
I think we're good.
I kind of want to put you in the right side, if that's okay. I'm hearing some echo.
Yeah.
Yeah? Can I make a change?
I just want to.
Oh, there we go. That's better. Sorry. So for my book launch, I had a lot. Yeah, I perform a lot. I'm like, eat the mic, baby. And my sister is somewhere. I want to look at the camera because she has a whole group of people in New York. Hi, sis.
She's right here. She's right here.
Oh, I love you. Thank you. So yeah, I performed a lot of really intense poems because I wrote my book when I had just had my daughter, who's here and 13, and I'm embarrassing her right now.
Yes.
That was right at the time that the Arab Spring was happening. That was right at the time when I had, I'm gonna try not to cry, this moment of real hope for that part of the world, where I thought I was witnessing people bring their children to protest, and I just had this moment where I thought, this is it. We're gonna finally do it. All the arguments, I have a Jewish grandmother and an Arab grandmother, and the arguments in my kitchen as a child were epic. And the grace that they gave to each other was amazing. And I thought, this is it. We're going to do it. We're going to make a difference in the world, and people are going to solve this pain that they've had for generations. So it didn't happen. And so at my launch, I yelled a lot. So with MS, I have to really protect what's happening with my neurological system. So I love you guys, but my poems tonight are going to be quiet.
Okay.
So I'm going to read a couple poems, one about my daughter, because I want to. But I do hope if you guys get the book, either now or later, I hope you take a moment and listen to some of the soundscapes, because, man, they're beautiful. I love my husband, he's rad, and I met him at an artist residency. I recommend that, by the way, if you guys are looking for partnership. That's where it's at. So this first poem, I kind of did this actually in honor of my cohorts who are reading tonight, because I saw that there was all this ecological stuff that was going to be talked about, and I was like, yeah, I want to read these poems about migration in a way that makes us feel connected. This is called Tell the Ocean. You who hold the cipher song of whales, clam cymbal and kombu semaphore, you who porpoise dance and orca heave, keep your slick, dark surface slick. Midnight a coal-eyed woman, the sun inside her pupils. We have already lost your brother Earth. Without a home, we stilt walk, unsteady, unable to come down. Legs quiver, leg shiver. In every boat, ghosts, fake flesh. Once, I floated while you cradled my head as precious fruit. So there's some Hebrew and there's a bunch of Arabic in my book, and I speak Arabic badly, so if anyone comes up to me after, it's terrible. I mostly know like really bad things in Arabic, so we could curse together. But I do have a variety of poems that are sort of me having conversation with my grandmothers. And my one grandmother from Syria grew up in Harlem, and so and she married a white man from Kansas, which we could talk about that after upstairs. Yeah, this is called Sitti Learns Her Address. Sitti means grandmother in Levantine Arabic. Don't cross the phantom line from Washington Street to where the Italians and Jews have staked out their blocks, garlic hung in double helix, planets of cheese, kitchens tight as a fist. Before this, did I even exist, or was I just deep green mountain breath, blown cloud, the daughter of priests? Not Lebanon, but something before the French, the English, somewhere where Muslims and Christians nodded to neighbors under the shadow of Mount Sanin. Ottoman, Greek, Melkite, Maronite, Muslim, the M in the mouth watering like a salted lemon. Zachle, city of poets and wine. Here, buildings blaze and tremble with the Levant. Little Syria, Arab ghetto, slum. One brother fights the Irish boy, 50 pounds larger, to defend the smallest brother. His nose breaks. The other boy's nose breaks. Always a border somewhere, and those intent on crossing. The streets heave iron. This place wants to send them back. She misses sand. She misses foam. This is a poem I'm actually, a dear friend of mine said, please read that poem. So if she's watching, this is for you, Alexis. Sitti teaches me Arabic as pastry. Arabs invented mathematics, so you triangle the dough so quickly I dizzy. I thought everyone ate them. Sweet, fatty lamb and rich pine nuts, cinnamon and bitter parsley, yogurt tang to sweat the tongue, your recipes, undecipherable dashes and ribbons across the paper. A dance in the mouth, even before the mouth. Silent, confident fingers that crease and twirl. It can't be 30 years, Sitti. How could you go before teaching me the word for faith, for hope? February 2021. 12.4 million Syrians are food insecure. 80% of the displaced are women and children. Where is your recipe? Numbers I can understand. 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. 4 cups of milk. Sorrow steals my sleep. I am not immune. I need handfuls of surety, pastry commune. Green parsley brews, the only ache. I'll read one final one from this book, and then I'm going to do one more from Bruising Continents, just because it's kind of a love poem. I like reading a love poem at the end. This one's kind of a love poem too, although it's about my kid and what we're dealing with right now, unfortunately. It's called My Daughter Discovers Synchronicity. If you cannot keep that smell of rosemary on your palms, tea warm in your morning mug, or stop your daughter's howl when the soup bowl tips, swallow this sorrow and spit out birds. My daughter gulps air to better voice her throat's vibration, her belly's taut drum. The contours of my face mountain under her gaze. Outside, a woodpecker searches for rot in a telephone pole. Her fingers enter the belly button. A world tucked in worlds, tucked in worlds. In mine, there are borders of guns, refusals. A veil could mean your children starve. Sunlight honeys my daughter's hair as I sponge the floor. In the other room, my husband's jaw works breath into his horn. Somewhere, someone always struggles more. Maybe it is you. Maybe this year, sorrow or anger held your heart underwater. The bitter, hot oolong feels necessary to my throat. Same as my girl, holding her arms up when I least want to give. I'll lift her, inhale her cheek. Love is already too brief. I need water for this last one. So my husband is an experimental musician, and when I met him, I was living in Colorado, and I liked those mountains. And he tried to convince me to move here to the rain. So sometimes I think the best thing you can do is to write a love letter to the place you're about to move to. So this is what this is. It's called Folklore, and I just want to say that John just put out an album called Nova Pangea, actually, which you were just saying, Zoe, I thought was beautiful, dealing with the climate crisis, but also for our daughter. So this poem is kind of for her. She wouldn't be here if this poem didn't exist. It says Folklore. I will take the rain into my mouth as if it is your skin. Complicit, I can be a pleasure bird seeking the damp seed, the well-oiled wing in the corner of what explodes quickly, so as not to wake the evening. I will weave mist into my hair as if I bore it. When I wade into the Willamette, the barren trees my bridesmaids, the fog as coat, the fields hush the highways, for roses to unfurl a second time, pale, weeping figs colored as grass protect their flower, rosemary thickens, the wild persimmons wash the muted heavens. We sleep past the lit wood and poured tea. A sigh against my shoulder holds that apple light, cinnamon in my hair, your neck exposing its honey. When we greet the rain, you seek the soggy roots, the maiden hair and fur stomped through this dark gray lullaby of beaten maples, triumphant spruce. The The salmon are making me an optimist returning. Hook-nosed and wonder-eyed, giant silver fish, stronger than us, sacrificing fish, returning. A blanket of river covers the waterfall, where they leapt 14,000 years. Still it weeps, seeps, falls underwater, falls as berry leaves, as ivy crowds the corners of my head, and the city floods, and the feral ring-tailed cat I covet doesn't want to get her paws wet. Softly, I will court the sun, confide in the February crocus the solution to our malaise. Rain, rain, down the drain, drain. The key to the Pacific Northwest is a wool hat and a good jacket, but coffee helps. Whiskey helps. Fucking helps sometimes. There is deeper quiet somewhere. When we escape further west, the churning sea wind scoops at my brain like butter, and I'm lost to the rocks as foam. If I say yes to you, your city, fate, yes. Will the volcanoes dream their worried dreams? The Columbia remember a time before steel, the blackberry thicket's ardor. When I fly into strange and dark, salty grasses, nights on fire, hidden fish glowing at the muscle, will you follow? To a place where you can throw your lungs into that horn, and the herbs sacrifice their young to a god of your making. Sun, after days upon nights of water, I warm your mouth with my mouth. We vibrate the air once more. Thank you.
So good.
What residency was that?
It was the Atlantic Center for the Arts.
Good to know. Okay.
So good. 3 disciplines, lots of choice. You know, I told you I started out this. I entered this event with my heart fairly weary, and I feel really good now. And I think your art, Zoe and Claudia, is so amazing. I don't understand how bringing us into our imaginations and giving us this imagery and showing us these other worlds is also at the same time bringing us like so present and like here. I don't understand how we can be in those both places, but that was so cool. I just feel here with you guys. It was so grounding, so beautiful. We have one more author. Miranda, where are you? Miranda, so nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. We get to close the reading event with Miranda Schmidt, the author of the novel Leaf Skin. We don't have somebody to hold the book up. Yeah. Thank you. Leaf Skin. Leaf Skin. You never know how we'll pull you in to this community here. Their writing circles folklore, ecology, and queer magic, and has appeared in Triquarterly, Orion, Electric Literature, Catapult, and more. With an MFA from the University of Washington and a PhD from Bath Spa University, they have taught creative writing at Portland Community College, University of Washington, The Loft, and the Portland Book Festival. Their newsletter and teaching project, Writing Toward Nature, explores methods for bringing the more than human more deeply into our writing craft. Miranda lives in Portland, Oregon. So excited to hear your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you to Constellation and Bishop and Wild and Tin House for having me here. Oh, and thank you for the help with the microphone.
And you do kind of have to lean into
Okay.
it. Okay.
All right. Can everyone hear me all right? Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the beautiful readings, Zoe, Claudia. It's such an honor to read with you both. And your words are wonderful. Okay, I'm going to read from this one here, Leaf Skin. It's my novel that came out this spring, so it's still relatively young. It's about a lot of things. It follows, the main character is a poet named Joe, and the novel itself frequently breaks into poetry. I think of it as a novel that thinks like a poem in a lot of ways. So it's sort of trying to bridge that line. All you need to know for this section really is Joe has a baby named River. Her husband is Liam. She's been struggling with nursing. I was trying to figure out what section to read, and then I remembered that this is one where it goes back and forth between her struggles with producing milk and her decision to try to make her own ink out of walnut husks, which is something that I really enjoy doing. I actually was this last weekend trying to make ink out of acorn caps, which I just realized I'm just learning about how to make that with my 6-year-old. So we had some fun boiling acorn caps on the stove. I haven't tried the ink yet. I don't think it turned out very well, but we'll find out. It's fun to experiment with these things. Yeah, that's all you need to know. So I'm just going to read from here. Dropping off at daycare, always someone is nursing. In the daycare fridge, always the bottles full of milk left to sustain the babies through the day. Jo wonders how the others make so much. She dutifully hands her meager supply over every morning with the same instructions. Use this first. Her box of powdered formula sits on the shelf above the sink. It isn't the only one, but she always suspects it is used most frequently. Each day before she leaves for work, she sits with River on a cushion in the corner and dutifully pulls up her shirt, unlatches her nursing bra, wishing she could do it unembarrassed like the others, wishing it felt simpler. Across from her, always, someone else in mirror image, but calmer, surer. The baby settling at the breast contentedly, not like River, kneading and pulling and fussing and looking up at her, eyes filled with the confusion of betrayal, struggling for milk. She tells herself it is better this way. It will leave her freer sooner. When the nursing is done, her body will no longer be relied upon for sustenance. She and River can build a different kind of bond, one outside of that fraught feeding. And it is better for Liam, too. He can make up the formula and have that time with River. It will be better. It will be fine. Her baby is fed. The way of it doesn't matter. She believes that. But every morning, the ease of the others, the way they will sometimes talk amongst themselves of storing freezers full of gold-white baggies, the plenty of the bottles they set on the shelves of the fridge, makes her feel like a shrunken thing. She imagines sometimes, as she sits on her cushion with River, that day when the milk will cease to come, the sad relief of it. It will be over then. She will be done with it. They will sit together on this cushion and find there is nothing left. River will wail, and she will smile, selfish and horrible, dried up amidst the milk of others. It is cold when she collects the jar from the corner of the garage. The glass looks like it holds the depths of midnight liquefied inside it. But when she opens it and dips a stick in and draws it across the piece of paper, the liquid is so light, a bright auburn. Is it strong enough, she wonders, to pin words to the page and keep them there? Has she done it wrong? Perhaps it only needs more time. She closes the lid and marks her calendar for another month. Each time River latches, she prepares herself for it to be the last. Each time grows shorter and shorter. Each time, she has to add more formula to the bottle. She tells herself she has done her best. She wants to believe it. 6 months is good. 6 months is something. She stops pumping at work. She is only managing the smallest thread of milk now, hardly enough to cover the bottoms of the bottles. She packs the tubes away. She hides the cords and the pump. She doesn't want to look at them. Jo thinks the weaning will happen organically, that it will be River who decides. She thinks she won't be the one to start it. But every night, the crying, the rocking away all the little bubbles of swallowed air that come when the milk won't. River is determined. River isn't giving up. So in the end, Jo has to. She chooses the time, morning. She has some milk then. It is always calm and close and sleepy. River with their eyes still filmed with dreams, looking up at her with blue. She tells them it is the last time. They won't understand, but she wants them to know, somewhere beyond the language of the thing, the severing of it, the way they will have to grow toward each other differently. She doesn't want them to be surprised, but they are surprised when, after daycare, there is no nursing on the couch before dinner, when, after dinner, even after the full bottle of formula, they reach for her breast and are denied. She cuddles River close, smiles sadly and shakes her head. They reach again. She holds them closer as they pound with their tiny fists, angry now and wailing. She holds them until she leaks 2 drops of milk onto her shirt. Then the holding itself seems like cruelty. She hands River to Liam and locks herself in the bathroom. Cold and brittle, she sits on the side of the tub and covers her ears. She tries to take deep breaths. She tells herself that River will forgive her this, won't even remember it. She will be the one to remember. The laugh escapes her suddenly, a deep, hollowing sound echoing from an empty space inside her, bouncing off the shiny, tiled surface of the floor. She can't stop it. It floods out of her, winging its way to Liam, who shouts to her through the door and the laughter and the wailing child, asking if she is okay. She sinks all the way down to the floor, damp-shirted, still laughing. "I'll be out in a minute," she shouts back, hoping he understands the voice that doesn't sound like hers, that comes out wild and sharp, a not dream creature barking over growing thorns. By the time she leaves the bathroom, she has changed her shirt and collected her human mother face again. She takes the wailing River and holds them close and smiles reassurance at the worried husband. She wonders if he sees the something else that is moving behind the woman face, stalking through the dark inside her eyes. By the time the ink is ready, fall is turning into winter. The husks have cured for almost a whole season, but the ink is darker now, deeper. She strains it with a cheesecloth and pours the liquid into a saucepan on the stove. Boiling is meant to concentrate it and give it a richer hue, and the boiling will keep the mold away for a while. On the stove, the ink smells old and wild. The bubbles brighten over the dark surface. The steam rises, curls around the air, making its own shapes. Walnut tree grows and husks slow, spring them to fall on the grass, gathering squirrels and crows and human hands. Roots span beneath, draw together the unseen world, a simmer in the pot, ink to charm the words, to hold them. The next night, she fills her pen. She hovers it over the page, nervous. The first words cannot be wrong. She cannot waste the work of the walnut tree or the husks or the jar or the pot or her own hands that still hold the stains of it. The sound of the simmering still echoes inside her, the smell of the ink on the stove still caught in her nose. She starts there, circles outward, moves words around the tree itself. The ink holds a rhythm inside it, a quiet pulsing she can follow if she listens. Her own rhythms shift to meet it. Beat of sunleaf breath, movement of water, blood, moon. Branch root through the woody page. Ink seep to the edges, the letters. The poems of this ink are new. Hers and not hers. Human and tree, twining to something else entirely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here for Constellation number 29. We will be back again next month for Constellation number 30. Yeah, it's a special one curated by Dr. Veronica Sandoval, who was one of our readers for one of our anniversary readings. I don't remember which one, but it's going to be really cool. So we're excited for you to come. Junae can sell you books. There are the books there, which we have discussed, and also a whole store full of books. In all seriousness, I believe and have believed for some time that the universe puts before you the books and the writers who you need when you need them. So if you're having that feeling tonight, don't hesitate. Your shelves do magically expand. And you can join us upstairs if you're interested. And you can also socialize down here. So hang out if you'd like. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.